is also another form of word. Okay, so the students could then just put all of their different words for words in a notebook and, you know, in their vocabulary notebook or whatever, and have the word webs surrounding the different words. Okay, so that's one of the activities that I really enjoy using. So what types of vocabulary could you teach using a word web? What do you think? How do you currently use it?
Thematic vocabulary.
Thematic vocabulary? Okay. Great. What else? Essential? Yeah? Okay.
Like combinations, for example, noun and adjectives which can go with this noun.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Or
Yeah.
the word is used in different surroundings and having the phrases
Mm-hmm.
in
Oh,
the
nice.
core word and then phrases which it is completed.
Okay, great. That's great.
Idioms.
Idioms as well. Yeah, similar to the phrases. Yeah, great.
IT words. IT.
Good.
Or the word is inside and which other words are related that explain this word. For example, in the middle is environment and it has a huge bunch of different
Right,
words.
right. Very good. So what part of the lesson, now that we've explored some possibilities for how to use the word web, what part of the lesson would you actually have the students use a word web or create a word web in? Like in the beginning, in the middle, in the end, like after what? Introduction?
Introduction of new vocabulary for brainstorming what the students do know. So far this theme is the subject of the lesson.
Okay, so as a brainstorm, as sort of like a warm-up to assess what they do and don't know. Okay, what else? I heard many people say it depends. Recycling. Great.
So I think it depends, actually, you can use it at every stage of the lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's great, right? Okay, good. And then we have a word is basically a unit of all languages. It can be either spoken or written, can be one sound or a group of sounds that have meaning, can be one letter or symbol or group of letters or symbols that have meaning, and can be composed of one or more syllables. The reason that I'm showing you this is because basically we were looking at word, and then this is an example of a definition of words, and based on the word web that you do, the next step could be potentially to have the definition. And you'll see that it is quite a bit, the definition is extended. So the students are seeing a lot of information, not just like a very simple definition of the word. At what level would this be appropriate to teach vocabulary where you have extended definitions rather than a very simple definition?
Upper intermediate advanced.
Upper intermediate to advanced, right. And why would you want to have an extended definition?
It's easier to use them in spoken or written language.
The professional needs to train them.
Well, we know more about the words. We have specific professional needs that the words are used for. And also, words, as someone was saying, between nouns and adjectives sometimes can change some meaning, right? And so it's important to know all of the possible definitions so that the students have a better idea of when to use the word appropriately. Right? So oftentimes the students will look in the dictionary, at least from my experience. They'll look in the dictionary, they'll see the first thing, the first definition, and they'll just use that definition. You're like, not for this context. And then they're like, what do you mean? But it said it in the dictionary, and it's like, well, did you read the rest of the definition? Because there was probably another word that would have been a better fit. Right? So just training in terms of reading definitions is important as well. Someone wanted to add something? Our birthday girl?
Yeah, when you're writing something, it is important to know more definitions to make the language more vivid. If it's sort of composition or something like that.
Exactly. And that gets us to our next stage, right? For especially younger learners, having 5-star words versus 2-star words. So going into the complication of language and how it can be more exciting when you have nicer word choice, especially for writing. We have 2-star words being big, large, or small, little. And then the 5-star words, gigantic, huge, astronomical, massive. And having students create lists, especially for academic writing, like we talked about yesterday. A lot of times, even with my native speakers, when teaching writing, I'll find that they use this thing, stuff, and they'll use it to refer back to things, that to refer back to things, and you're like, okay, but the way the sentence is written, that could mean 2 different elements. Which one is it? You know, so having basic words that frequently occur, especially in academic writing, and then having the students go through as an activity and list out other ways to say the same words, I have found that to be helpful. But also you can see that for younger learners, this is good as well. Not for academic writing. Okay, so what techniques do you use to teach vocabulary? What I'd like us to do is to think about that and to look at the advantages and disadvantages of those techniques. And we'll fill out a little form where we have the technique. For example, we had the word web. Advantages is they're visual, they're teaching synonyms, and some of the disadvantages is it takes class time.
Everything takes class.
This is true. So see, you have an easy disadvantage for all of the activities. And then for what type of lesson is this technique most effective? So we talked about that a little. Well, we talked about when in the lesson, either as an assessment in terms of what they know at the beginning or as an opportunity to recycle, right? So this is asking a slightly different question. What type of lesson is the technique most effective? So one might say a vocabulary lesson or a post-reading lesson, right? When they're reviewing the words that they learned within the reading itself. It could be a pre-reading activity. So what I'd like for you to do is just with each other in groups discuss some of the techniques that you have used. We'll get to the game part soon, I promise.